Hey there, everybody. It's your girl, Barbie J here, and I am back with another recap review of All the Queen's Men, Season 3, Episode 7, Weakness. Ooh, weakness. I don't know. Your sweetness is my weakness. Wasn't there a song about that? Anyway, the synopsis for this episode says Madam catches Davis Detective Davis in a compromising spot. Champ and Trouble offer to help when Tandy tries to buy Rayshawn's silence. And Dime fears that both Amp and Big D have spiraled out of control. So before we get started with this, if you have not subscribed to my channel as of yet, please take a moment right now, hit that subscribe button, then hit the notification bell and select all. It'll let you know every time I upload any new content. Then I ask that you like the video, the thumbs up button, write a comment, and share, because sharing is caring. Anyway, it begins with Big D closing the hatchback on his car. And when he turns around, Amp showing up intoxicated right behind him saying, "Who the F was you talking to in there, Igga?" And he said himself, and Amp said it don't look like that. Now, if it didn't look like that, why didn't Amp ever go back over there and check? But he didn't. Then he said he's following Dime, and Big D said, then you're following me. So Amp starts screaming Dime's name, calling her, to get her ass out here. And she gets down there and yells at Amp, who is asking, "Are you really going to sleep with this country ass Igga?" And she says yes, and admits once again that she messed up, and now you're going to keep hurting yourself to get back at me. Well, that makes no sense, that comment. It really doesn't. I don't know why. Madam said it too, so I think I'm going to repeat that. Because I think he's hurting because she didn't ask first and almost got him killed by his own aunt because she assumed the worst of him. Anyway, even though Amp is wrong in a way, he basically is saving Dime from doing something stupid. She doesn't seem that into Big D to me. I think she's just doing it to get under Amp's skin, and it's immature and stupid. She's causing more mess amongst Madam's people, and she needs to grow up and stop, as far as I'm concerned. If Madam does it, if she does that, mess up her people, it's allowed because it's Madam. But anyways, Amp punches Big D and they get into fighting, and Dime jumps on Amp's back and he drops her to the ground. Then she runs to D's car to get a jack while the two men are fighting, and he tells her not to open it, and when she does, she sees Casanova's body and it's like, what is going on? And she runs, and D says, "Let me explain." And she called him a sicko and jumps into Amp's trunk and drives away with it, leaving Amp sitting down on the ground holding his head. I didn't get that. That made no damn sense whatsoever. So now, first of all, Amp, why are you leaving your keys in the car? Why they wasn't in your pocket? Anyway, so now we have Big D in his car about to drop Casanova at a safe house. He says that they have trackers on his car because he saw them. So he's going to head to the swamps to throw them off. But didn't Tommy already tell Madam that he put that tracker on Big D's car and that he had already gone to the swamps? So how is it he's just now going? Is Tommy slipping? Or is this an error with Tyler's directing? Tyler Perry directing this, so that might be an issue, the way they placing it and putting it together. Maybe the scenes are put in the wrong place. I don't know. Now we have Tommy servicing Madam. Lovely with his downtown tongue skills. And when her phone keeps ringing, she wants to answer, and Tommy's saying no. And she's squirming and enjoying being pleasured by him. So she finally answered, and it's Doc saying that he had Detective Davis in his apartment and he beat the brass off that ass. Anyway, so he said she's in his bed and he was going to kick her out. And Madam said don't, told him to keep her there until she get there. She'll be on her way. She tells Tommy to stop. She's got to go. And he wanted to know if his tongue was to her liking, let's put it that way. And she said it was fine. And he's like, I just want to make you happy. And she said, you do, but I got to get up and go. And he told her he don't trust Joey. And then he asked, can he bathe her? And she said, fine. And I don't get why that line was even written in there. She needs to hurry, take a shower, and be quick Wouldn't the shower be quicker for her to get there to Doc's house? Anyway, now we have Doc waking up Davis, who seems not to know where she is, and then asking Doc if he used a condom, and he said 7 of them, and they're over there. I said, go Doc, baby, go Doc. So she runs into the bathroom to put on her clothes, saying that she may have just ruined her career. And Doc said, but was it worth it, right? It was worth it, right? And he's laughing. I'm like, oh no. He like full of himself is right. Then we get Rayshawn. He thanks Champ. This is funny. He thanks Champ for letting him stay there. And he said, I didn't let you stay here. You got to pay me. Rayshawn was like, are you serious? He said, yeah, I just met you. Shit, I don't know you like that. But now you're supposed to tell people up front if they're supposed to pay you now. So then they decide to go to the gym to get their bodies ready for eating. And when Champ opens the door, Miss Tandy was standing there saying she always knows where, Rayshawn is. And I said, she must have a tracker up his behind or something. I mean, how does she know where he is? Because Rayshawn was like, how did you know where I was? Anyways, she wants to be alone with Rayshawn. And he says, nah, he doesn't want to talk to her. So she hands Champ a wad of bills, and he said, Rayshawn, just talk to her. I'll be right outside my door. So Tandy apologizes to him for what her and her husband did to him, and she wants to offer him $25,000 to keep his mouth shut and move on with his life. Plus, she needs for him to sign a contract, and Rayshawn ain't interested in that after what she did to him. Then Champ comes in after he hears the offer, because he must have been eavesdropping, had his ear to the door. He comes busting in his own apartment and telling her that it'll be $125,000 to buy Rayshawn's silence, $100,000 for Rayshawn and $25,000 for him. She's saying she don't have that kind of money, and he told her that she better find it, And so she left, and that's when Rayshawn told Champ that he didn't want the money. He wants them dead, her and her husband, for what they did to him. And Champ said, well, let's get this money and then I'll help you. He said, yo, you got me like that? And he said, yeah, cool. So then we get Detective Davis comes out of the bathroom, and Madam is standing in Doc's bedroom. Davis is acting like she didn't do anything, and Madam is letting her know that she just compromised her investigation by sleeping with one of her dancers. And Davis tells her that she doesn't realize how thick the blue wall is. It'll be her word against Doc's. So she leaves, and Madam asks Doc what he has on her. And he says nothing, because Davis took down all his cameras. Then she's like, did you take a picture while she was sleeping? And he said she scrambled his phone. But I don't understand. Somebody put this down in the comment section for me. Why would that make him unable to take a picture scrambling the phone? I thought the scrambling phone wouldn't allow him to make a phone call, but he was allowed to call Madam. So I'm confused about that. So anybody who can help me, let me know. Anywho, why can't they use those condoms, I'm thinking, as evidence containing her DNA? So, you know what I'm saying? So Doc said he took care of Davis well, just like Madam taught him. So Madam smiled and said, then she'll be back and you better be ready for her. I guess that means he better get a burner phone as well. So Detective Davis arrives at the precinct, and the DA is there, and she tells Davis that her man on the inside hasn't checked in yet. So I'm assuming that's Casanova. But then who is Big D working with? Who's he supposed to be checking in with? I'm just wondering, because they only talking about this one person. So then the DA introduces her to Jack Watson, who is Miss Tandy's husband, who we now know is running for mayor, and all the polls are in his favor. So if he wins, he has a plan in place to take down or close down Club Eden for good. And now we have the DA telling Davis she needs to make things happen right now, and those days of playing by the book is over. I'm like, wow, everybody's telling her to do that. When Davis walks away, Detective Davis walks away, Mr. Watson asks the DA, is she sure Davis is with us? And she says, yes, she can be trusted. And with all the illegal ish she's pulled, I will bury her ASS, she said. She said, I hate that biatch. She's stupid and she's greedy and will do whatever I need her to do. So Mr. Watson was like, okay, cool. Meanwhile, Watson is checking out an officer in the other room, and the DA is saying he is off limits. We're trying to get your ASS into the mayor's office. See, that statement just leads us to believe that she already knows or is aware of who he really is and his sexual appetite and what he does, which makes the DA just as crooked. So when they leave, Davis goes back into that room and removes a tape recorder from under the table. I don't know when that was put there, how long it was there. Remember, she was asleep at Doc's house for all this time. So when did she put a tape recorder in that room to tape that? And she hears what the DA had to say about her. And I know her feelings were hurt. She felt messed up. So then we see Amp fussing at Dime, who had his car all day. And she's like, don't say nothing to me. And he said, give me my effing keys. And she said, if you flatten my tires again. And Amp said, I didn't flatten your tires. I told y'all, I think that Big D did it. I'm serious, y'all. I think B did it to make it look like it was Amp. So Amp's like, you better put some gas in my car. And she's saying, you better fix my tires. So them two, they're making me sick. Anyway, so the guys are coming in and giving Dime their music for the night. And when Big D gets to her, he wants to explain, but Dime doesn't want to speak to him. And then she tells him to get out so that she can talk to Madam first. But then Blue comes in and says that Madam wants him on the main stage to dance with the fellas. And Dime doesn't think it's a good idea until she talks to Madam, who happens to walk in at that moment. And Dime asks to speak to her in her office. When they get to Madam's office, Dime does that thing when she takes forever. Don't judge me. Don't. I was like, oh, spill it already. It takes forever for her to tell a story. Even Madam got tired of her with doing that. And she snapped at Dime, who finally tells her about the hotel, the dead body, and saying that Amp flattened her tires. She tells Dime that Casanova was a cop. And she said, what do you want me to do? He's trying to take us down anyway. And she tells her to get Amp because she wants to talk to both of them. So Dime goes to get Amp, who is ignoring her while he's standing around drinking. Then Blue comes in telling the fellas that Madam wants Big D on the main stage with them tonight. And they are like, he can't learn the steps that quick. So Fuego offers to teach him. And when they leave out, Face is pissed because now they have to split their money 6 ways. So Doc tells him he shouldn't be so insecure if he has his ish together. And Face makes an insensitive remark about Doc having a baby to bury. And they get into a fight. Doc knocked Face to the floor and was about to whoop that ass until Midnight jumped in between them. Then we have Trouble coming into the amateur dressing room in a better mood. And they tell her that Miss Tandy showed up to Champ's apartment and offered him $100,000 to keep quiet. And Trouble wanted to be down and get some cash. And Champ said, no, they're good. But then she said that they're going to need some backup. And Rayshawn offered her $2,000. And she was like, that's it? And he said, yeah. And she was like, cool. So Amp and Dime, they get into Madam's office. And she asks Amp, did he flatten her tires? And he said he didn't. And Dime, once again, is so sure that Amp did something that he probably didn't do. Dime runs off to Madam everything that Amp is doing that is so messed up. And Amp says, and you give a F why? You already lied to my aunt about something and she almost killed me. Now you're trying to bring me here to fix me in front of her? So Madam tells Dime she can leave. She'll talk to Amp. Then she tells him to sit down and she checks him about his behavior, saying it's stupid with the drinking and drugging, which was what landed him in jail the first time. He said, why should he give a F? And Madam says she doesn't say sorry, but she did say she was wrong. He could run with that if he wants. So she lets him know that Dime did that for her. And she also said Dime was into him. And he said, but she didn't come to me first, Madam. That's what I'm trying to say. And she said he needs to grow up and that life isn't fair. And she also told him to stop hurting himself to hurt her, something like that, talking about Dime. And then Amp asked Madam, who does she keep trying to hurt by hurting herself all the time? So she told him to get the F out of her office. And she said, fast, Igga. She was pissed. Now Dime is on stage and she introduces the men of Eden. And Trouble is pissed to see Big D up there when she came to Eden first, so she left. Then Blue tells Madam that Detective Davis is at the back door and Joey doesn't think it's a good idea for her to go out there. And Madam tells him that she's going to have to let him go if he keeps telling her what the freak to do. And he says that might not be a bad idea because that's the job you hired me to do to keep you safe. And she said, I also told you to find out where Raphael is. Have you done that yet? And he said, we have eyes on him in Mexico. So Madam goes to the back door with Blue and Joey to talk to Detective Davis. Madam asks Joey to step away And Detective Davis asked to speak to her in private. And she says this is as private as it's going to get. She wants to make a deal, but she didn't want Blue there. So Madam asked Blue to step back. Then Davis tells her that she wants money, lots of it, because her job doesn't pay her much. And she will tell Madam where the pressure is. Basically, she's ready to ruin the precinct's investigation because of what that DA said about her. That's what I'm thinking. Y'all let me know down in the comment section what you're thinking. Madam asked her, was the dick that good that she's ready to jump ship? I said, oh, snap. She said, because I don't trust you. Then she said she was telling the truth. Then she asked about Casanova, saying that he's one of theirs and she needs for him to come up because if he doesn't, it's going to be really, really bad. And Madam told her to go. Then Blue hands Madam the phone, telling her that the nursing home has been calling. And when she answers on the other end of the phone, it's Fernando talking about the guillotine that he has that is like the one Madam used on his sister-in-law. Then he tells her that the security detail she put on her father at the nursing home was pathetic. She tells him not to touch her father, and he said, my brother told you not to touch his wife. Madam said, that's different because he didn't love that biatch. I love my father. Madam said, what is it? You want me? I'll give you me. He said, and Blue. And she said, Blue will be there too. Then he ended with, you want to hear the sound that my guillotine makes? And Madam screams, no, no, no. And you hear the sh or something sound. And it ended like that. So y'all let me know down in the comment section what y'all thought about this episode. I'd love to hear what y'all have to say. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. It's your girl, Barbie J, saying I'll see you in the next video. Peace.